Means what I'm going to explain today is agile planning process, because if you are working on agile environment, how the agile planning will happen. This is completely different from the traditional one. Again, I'm repeating, because traditional planning process is a traditional approach which starts with analysis, planning, design, implementation, testing, deployment, delivery, all that. That is how usually it works. But whereas when it comes to the agile part, agile planning process is entirely different. That structure will be a different process altogether. So there are different steps. Means step 1, step 2, step 3. Like this, we have different steps here, right? So we have different steps here till the final closure is still retrospection, right? There are different 7 steps are there. I'm going to explain you one by one, so that if you want, you please make a heading, right? The banner item, you please make a note of it. I'm not asking you to write each and everything. You can make a note on the step 1, step 2, all that. Okay. Those agile planning process means if you want to work on agile, if someone is asking you how traditional model, how agile planning is entirely different than traditional model, because as being you guys are into scrum master roles, and whenever you are planning your career in scrum master, first of all, first and foremost thing, being a scrum master, whatever the responsibilities are you going to render and all everything, that's different. That's a different thing. So prior to that, first of all, you must be knowing about how a project will be planned in agile environment. What are the stages will be taken into an account, right? So that is what you must be learning first. So for that reason, this banner and all everything I prepared on my own. The first step we call it as product vision and scope. This is what happens in planning meeting. In the beginning days, usually there is a meeting called planning meeting will be conducted by the management team. Management team means client. I am saying a client will do the planning meeting, and client will create a vision and as well as the scope of the product. Means whatever the product, for example, client is expecting a point of sale system. What is point of sale system? Point of sale is a system which is used for a billing purpose. Now customer is planning to develop a point of sale system here. Whenever customer is planning to develop a project point of sale system, what is that they want first? First of all, they must be knowing about the vision and as well as the scope of the product, right? What vision we have, followed by the scope. This is what is required here. So first of all, customer wants to understand what is my vision finally and what is the possibility of achieving it. So if they wants to know about the vision and as well as the scope of the project, there is an amount of planning meeting will be conducted with the available and important stakeholders within their environment. Here they want to clarify few things. One, they have to understand their business need, because unless until if there is no business need, customer never approach a vendor to develop the solution. Hope you understood. So there is a business need which must be clear with. Unless until if there is no business need, customer never approaches for sure. So you need to have a clear business need from the customer perspective. I'm saying this, right? Not from the implementation perspective. Understand the difference. Now customer do this project planning meeting, to understand the vision and the scope of the product. If they want to understand the vision and scope, first of all, they need to have a clear understanding about the business need, what is they having, and what is that final goal they want to achieve. At the same time, how to achieve. They must be having a clarity, means what I'm going to finally expecting, what I'm expecting finally out of this. This is what we call it as end goal transfer. So business need clarity is required, clarity and business need is required. At the same time, whatever the end goal we are planning to finally achieve. This is what the first point. Second, they must be knowing about the scope of work followed by the vision, because scope means possibility. What are the different possibilities we have to develop someone to develop this application for our benefit? This is what we call it as scope of work transfer. Followed by scope of work, the next we call it as vision, because there must be a vision. If you don't have a vision, what will happen? Whatever the amount of work you are doing doesn't have any clarity at all, because what is that you are going to reach and what is that you want to become? If there is no vision, So there is the requirements and the amount of work you are doing will be very blurred. So this is what we call it as vision stands for. Now, to keep meeting means whatever the meeting they are conducting should be a productive meeting. It should be a productive meeting. If the meeting should be productive, there are few points they have to understand. First, who are the target customers to whom we are targeting for, right? Means who is target customer here? Person who is using this application will be called as target customer. That person will also be called as end user. It's called as end user, first of all. Second, statement of need. For what reason we are doing this? Next, what is that product we are planning someone to develop? That is what we call it as product name, and which falls in which category it falls into. Product name has to be decided. Next, they want to know about the benefits of the product. Whatever the product benefits and all everything, they must be knowing next. So first of all, they must be knowing about who are our target customers. Next, we must be knowing about statement of need. Followed by this, they must be knowing about the product name, category, all that. Followed by this, whatever the kind of product benefits they want to achieve finally, right? What benefits they want to achieve by implementing this in real environment, customer must be very clear with whoever is providing this information, all that. At the same time, they must be knowing about the competitive alternative. Means, is there any alternate for us to develop the solutions, right? So there must be some alternates, multiple alternates and all everything. If there are any sort of alternatives, do we handle everything? What are those alternatives? At the same time, we must be knowing about the primary differentiation. Means how the product is different from other ones, because now assume that there is an existing POS application which customer is expecting to add the new features and functionalities into the existing ones. Now what is that we want to do, how the existing one it looks like, and what is that you are going to develop. So without having a clear understanding about this, whenever you have approached a vendor, when you are trying to give us the requirements to them, will be a difficult task for us to give the clarity, because unless until being an expected person, being an end user, or being a business owner or a project sponsor, unless until if we don't have any clarity of what we are expecting, whatever the solution we will be expecting will be a failure, right? So these are the points we have to keep in mind when we are going to conduct any kind of planning meeting in real environment. Followed by this, relevant stakeholders will be involved in this meeting. Means whoever are important, these functional heads or someone, whoever they are, relevant stakeholders will be a part of it. Next, key business product team members, all that, and product owner. Because in the beginning I told you, because normally in Agile we have three different roles. Let me go back to the point.